Brett. I'm wearing this shirt for you, baby.
Oh, yeah, I saw it.
And I just called you baby, even though I have a personal rule with Banana not to call me baby. And I have a funny story about that.
I don't even know what we're talking about. I don't know what a banana is.
You know Banana.
Is that Anna?
We don't say her name on this podcast.
You gotta tell me the rules before we just start.
It's been a rule since like episode 2.
Did we cover the rules coming into this with me? Because we didn't. We just said, don't drop F-bombs. That's the only rule I was told.
Don't take your shirt off. Those are the main 2 rules. But the big rule is don't say that name on here. That's her own personal rule. Anyway, my rule in life is just don't call me baby. You know how couples call each other baby.
Oh, yeah, I guess.
Yeah.
I like baby more than bae. Bae is terrible.
I hate bae. That's what the kids are saying these days, so I'm not going to say that.
Kids.
I like babe. You can call me babe all day. I don't like baby, though.
So they can put you in the corner then.
Well, that's
if you're not baby, you can go in the corner.
I was talking with a coworker this week. And she called her husband baby on the phone, and she got off. And I go, I have a strict rule to not call me baby. And she goes, so your rule in life is don't call me baby? And she goes, that sounds like a superhero slogan. And I go, all right, well, that's my superhero slogan then. Don't call me baby.
It's a terrible slogan.
I don't
Stop
care.
Evildoers. Don't call me baby.
No, you do. You take your sunglasses off. You look at the camera. You say, don't call me baby.
I think you gotta have a little bit more of a pause in there. Don't call me baby.
Don't call me baby. Is that good? Yeah, that's better.
Terrible. It's like, I think it'd be a better one to be like, don't forget to eat your Cheerios.
It works either way. Either one works. I don't like being called baby. I don't like it when
Cheerios going to pay me to say that. You're not getting.
I don't like it when adults call each other baby. Like, why are adults calling each other baby? Do you call your girlfriend baby?
No. Also, no.
Does she call you baby?
No.
It's like an unwritten rule.
I don't know. I just assumed I was an adult male.
Exactly. All right. Well, Owiso, this is for you.
Owiso. This show is about to be Owiso. Start it.
Play that song, Eric. Welcome to the party, nerds, aka the Nerd Rundown podcast, where we cover the latest in the nerd world of movies, TV, and more. I'm your host, Darren Stemple. With me today is my hetero life mate, Brett D. King. We appreciate everyone watching and listening in. Please follow us on social media on Twitter at the Nerd Rundown. Find our YouTube channel at the Nerd Rundown, and you can listen to our podcast on all the major podcast services. Happy 4th of July, Brett. You awake?
I'll see how long ago it's still. I thought maybe you'd think the camera froze.
That or you were sleeping since you're a master napper.
See how long I went without blinking?
It's a record for you. Are you tired? Do you need to take a nap now?
No, 4th of July.
Happy 4th of July, brother.
Happy 4th of July.
Happy 4th of July to all the listeners. We have a fantastic show today. We'll run through the rundown, talk about our special segment today, which is all about X-Men. And then we'll maybe answer some nerd questions. It's a little different this week, so we'll see. But let's get to the rundown real quick. First on the rundown, we have it came out this week in toy merchandise. Actually,
Lego.
I feel like I just said merchandise, toy merchandise. Anyway, either way, new Spidey costumes for the new Spidey movie coming up. With
Sounds
you
like
being the Spidey connoisseur.
Go merchandise.
What did you think of the new costumes?
Me?
Yeah, you.
Oh, I thought it was
the guy behind you.
I thought it was a nice blend of the Iron Spidey, well, the MCU's version of Iron Spidey,
right,
and then the uniform that Peter Parker created last time. It was a nice blend. I like the black and red. I mean, I've always been a fan of the blue and red, but I like the black and red because I feel like it's just a little different take. It's a little more. It's a little different take. It's a little more adult, I guess. And I think this is a nice blend of the Iron Spidey into that because you've got some elements of gold, which I think is a nice tribute to Iron Man.
Yeah. And do you think the black and red costume is an ode to the Superior Spider-Man?
No, absolutely
costume.
Not.
Okay.
I don't think
into that
conversation. I'd like it to be, but there's no way because that was such a not popular run.
Just popular with Brett King.
Just popular with me, yeah.
There was also the black costume with the yellow. Did you see that one?
Mm-hmm.
That one wasn't that created for the game? Was that a new costume for the game? So I'm wondering how that plays into the story this time. Of course, we don't know a whole lot about how No Way Home is going to play out. We don't have a trailer yet. We don't have a lot. They're keeping a lot of stories under wraps. I do think that we'll see a trailer when Loki's over. I don't think they're going to release a trailer before Loki's over because I think if they released a Spider-Man trailer before the end of Loki, it would spoil Loki.
With the dimensions?
Yeah, with the multiverse. So I think once Loki ends, they'll start ramping up a little bit of the marketing for that movie. But excited. That's one of the best things about Spider-Man movies, or really just MCU movies in general, is we're looking forward to the new costumes and seeing how they play into the story.
Let's take there's very few movies I won't watch a thing for. It's usually, or won't read a thing. And it was Spider-Man, all the Spider-Man ones, and Civil War.
You won't read a thing for it?
Mm-mm. I'll watch the trailer because I feel like that's part of the build.
And Marvel does a really good job at not spoiling movies in their.
Tom Holland does a terrible job.
In their
not spoiling movies.
Yeah, I love watching all the videos of him just spoiling movies, and then during the Endgame and Infinity press release or press tour, they put Benedict Cumberbatch with him on like as his partner in case he started spoiling stuff, and Benedict Cumberbatch was time.
Back it up.
Yeah, man, we love Tom Holland. I think Tom Holland is.
I already watches this show.
He sits down with John Krasinski and they watch it together.
Watch it together.
My mind would be blown if that happened, but very excited about that. Too, yeah. It could be father and son. So very excited about the new Spidey costumes. May even have another Spidey costume in there. I wouldn't be surprised.
I think we'll see a bunch of them in there. Speculation with them jumping through different dimensions. I think we'll see many costumes.
Yeah. It'll be cool to see all of them. I really hope we get to see Garfield in his Amazing Spider-Man 2 costume. We get to see.
I hope we see.
I love that costume so much, though.
Oh no, I think that's been the best costume.
Yeah,
the Spider-Man 2 one, Amazing Spider-Man 2 one. But
yeah,
I want to see. I want to see Tobey Maguire in the. I think it's World's End one, where it's kind of an older Spider-Man, and I want to see Garfield in the black suit because I want to see that anger after just losing Gwen, and that's where the story ended. He lost her. Yeah, he was angry, sad and angry. Like I want to see him. I want to see an angry Spider-Man in that world.
That would be really good. I guess I didn't see him as angry because the end scene he didn't seem so angry, but maybe he's still dealing with that kind of trauma of losing Gwen, and there has to be some kind of fallout from that, right? Like not just a montage of him crying at the.
And if I can
cemetery.
recommend 5 comics, this is an easy 5 comics. If you're going to read 5 comics in your life, read Renew Your Vows. And that's the Tobey Maguire version I want to see. That's for a very quick rundown. All that is Spider-Man is Amazing Spider-Man. You know, Mary Jane is his wife. They've got a daughter, May, and then there's like an attack on the world. He's at the Avengers Tower, and like all the prisons are let out. Like everything's going haywires. There's something big going bad and going down, and he realizes, oh damn, if everyone's out, that means Venom is out, and Venom knows who I am. And so he takes off immediately for home while the rest of the Avengers go to the event happening. And it's like the first time you see like Peter Parker truly like desperate for someone else where he has the power to stop it. And so him and MJ straight kill Venom. Done. Like you can't go after his baby. Done. They straight kill him.
When did this come out?
2017, 18.
Okay, that's why I don't. Okay, I was like,
they straight kill him dead, and the rest of the Avengers they get killed by the event. Well, what's happening, and so it's about like years pass, and Peter's kind of he's in hiding, and there's not many heroes left, and it's him kind of coming back into the light. And I'll leave it at that. It's 5 issues. It's spectacular.
No pun intended.
It is. Yeah, no pun intended.
Is the Spidey armor from it? Is it World's End or from Ends Earth or Ends of the Earth?
You got a picture of him? It's the older version, like not the. I don't remember which one. It's one of the two. Ends of the Earth. It's not the armor version. The armor. I think that's.
Well, we can look at it later. Let's talk about it later. Look it up.
Okay.
People, and we'll.
And then you can tell me I'm wrong. Tell me I'm right. But Renew Your Vows. Read that one.
That sounds amazing. I need to. Yeah.
I'll send it to you. I have them on digital. And I'm not going to let you pirate them because that's against the law. And
we don't do that here.
We want to support our local comics by sharing them with each other.
That's right. Brett and I share a lot. The Last of Us started production. Next on the rundown, The Last of Us started production this past week. Looking forward to finally seeing this on the screen. And we talked about this a bit last week, actually quite a bit last week on last week's show. Very excited to see the greatest storyline in any video game come to life. And this was something from the very beginning that when we were playing this game, we're like, this needs to be on the screen. So for a short recap on some of the casting, we have Pedro Pascal as Joel, the main character. You have, God, what's her name? Bella Ramsey as Ellie. And if Bella Ramsey brings any bit of the attitude she had on Game of Thrones.
Which was she on that?
She was the girl on Game of Thrones.
Yeah. The stone skin. Is it stone skin girl?
No. Why can't I remember what her name was on that show? She was the little bear. She was the little bear. The spunky girl who liked Jon Snow.
I guess I don't remember.
I know. Why am I having so much trouble with this? This is going to drive me crazy. Here we go.
Just can't wait.
She was Lyanna Mormont.
Oh, that helps. She played Santa Claus.
Remember so she was like the small girl who Jon Snow went to go recruit people for the Battle of the Bastards. She was the girl who gave a lot of attitude. She stood up for him at the end of season 6 when he was crowned King of the North.
Tracking.
Got it. So she brings any of that spunk to this role. I think she was great casting. We've casted this movie 100 times in 100 different ways, and I don't think we ever even thought about her as Ellie. And
when we were casting it, she wasn't a thing.
It was also, we started casting it 7 years ago. So at the time, Arya was always the big person to cast as Ellie. Anyway, looking forward to this show. I think it's going to be on HBO Max, right? Yes, HBO Max. So it should release sometime next year. And they say that the first season is going to follow the game very, very closely. So
I wonder how far, because I think that's the biggest downfall. It's the best thing about having a show instead of a movie. A movie's got to cram a video game into
2 hours.
I mean, you've got 2 hours, and sometimes that game takes many hours, whereas a show can kind of space it out more. I think Morgan brought that up last time he was on.
It was a good point by Morgan.
I get the point this time though, because we need 4 to come on the show, which is why I'm still here and Morgan's not. So I get the point now.
I know. We will see Morgan in our Loki review after this, so he must have made enough points to.
He asked enough questions. He's on a different. He's on a different assessment level.
He's graded differently. So this will come out next year on HBO Max. Looking forward to it. Next on the rundown.
What you laughing at? An excellent point, because I feel like it might have been an excellent point.
It's not next on the rundown. Next on the rundown, we have Obi-Wan Kenobi's rumored to face an Inquisitor in an epic. I hate that word. Epic lightsaber battle on the Disney Plus series. So we don't know much about the Obi-Wan show. Very excited about this. How are they going to tie it into the Star Wars timeline? We're just you and me kind of are just learning about Inquisitors over the last year or two, or maybe even a little bit further back. Or at least for me, I started learning about the Inquisitors during Fallen Order.
I was before that. There was quite a few Inquisitors in Rebels,
which I haven't got to yet. Penny and I are still in Clone Wars. We're in season 3 or 4.
It gets better, right? Like I told you, it gets better.
It gets real. It's so good. We just finished an incredible storyline. Anyway, we'll come back to some other point, but very, very excited to see. I mean, you got to give Ewan McGregor, Obi-Wan Kenobi, the best lightsaber fighter. You got to give him an epic lightsaber battle. And
you said you didn't like that word that you keep using.
I'm just using it. I'm just quoting. I'm quoting the story.
First of all, I think the best lightsaber fight in the world was him versus Anakin at the end. Like at the end.
Oh, you think that's better than him and Maul?
Oh yes, it's not even close.
Whoa.
Like, not even.
That's
close.
very debatable.
It's like what we talked about earlier, where like we're separating people at this point. Like these are the smart ones, and these are the ones whose opinions just don't matter. I'm not saying that was a bad one, but Anakin versus tell me you didn't. How many times did you tear up during the Darth Maul fight?
I didn't tear up during the Anakin.
Oh, you didn't tear up when he's supposed to be the chosen one, when he's got the high ground, and this is the end. This is how Darth Vader is created.
That's not lightsaber fighting. That's acting.
That was
McGregor.
All the way. That was the end of
it.
It
was leading up to it. I'm not saying the Anakin fight is bad by any means.
Well, then
I'm not saying my opinion is the right one.
How about when he's got the high ground and he tells Anakin, "Don't do it,"
and he has the high ground. Right, and then Anakin's dumb because
right. But tell me, you didn't feel. Tell me that didn't pull on your heartstrings. Best one done.
Ewan McGregor's acting is phenomenal in that scene, and it just sucks he has to act against the robot Hayden Christensen because. When he says you underestimate my powers, that's just it like the Anakin ruins that scene for me. I can't I can't put that over Maul versus Obi-Wan. Good scene.
You can stand on the
Good
other side of the room then.
I'll stand on the other side of the idiots.
You can stand over there with the Watchmen haters.
It also, I didn't like blue versus blue. I like a contrast in my lightsaber battles, the color in colors, and it did feel like there was a time where they were just doing stuff and they weren't even clashing lightsabers.
They did that. That's what Darth Maul did. That was his thing.
When?
He always busted that thing around. There was times where he wasn't doing it, when he wasn't even near people. Cyclops fell over because he disagrees with you.
Sorry, whatever. He's just so disgusted by your and John McClane. Come on.
Anyway, let's drive on here.
Let's drive on. So looking forward to an epic lightsaber battle for Obi-Wan. And to see what Inquisitor it is, because what is there, 10 of them?
I don't know how many there are. I don't even know if there's a number to it.
I'd have to look that up. I feel like there was like 10 of them during this time.
It's hard
maybe
to say.
All time there was more.
Did you read the Ahsoka book by chance?
Yeah,
there's an Inquisitor in that. And I don't want to give the book away, but like one goes down. She fights one in that one. I'll leave it at that.
Okay. You going to send that to me too?
I can. I have it digitally.
Yeah, please. Next on the rundown, Brett King, most handsome.
Excellent point. Whoever put that on the show notes.
Agreed. I mean, you are the most handsome with that smile. Look at that smile.
That's 2 points for Mr. King.
Show us that smile, Brett.
It hasn't gone away. I can't unshow it.
Next on the rundown, Black Panther 2, which is titled Black Panther Wakanda Forever, gets an unofficial logline, and it teases a war between Atlantis with Namor and Wakanda.
Namor. What did you say?
Namor?
Yeah, I think it's Nay, like horses neigh.
Do you say Thanos? Do you say Thanos or Thanos?
Well, you can pronounce names anyway, but it's not Namor.
Namor.
Yeah, it's Namor. Just Namor. Like in Carmen San Diego. Namor.
But you said I could pronounce it any way I want.
Let's drive on.
Okay. Let me read this logline real quick. And
put
let
it in the comments, folks. How do you pronounce it?
Yeah. Is it Namor
Megan
or Namor?
Bradbury, we know you know the answer.
Yeah, she for sure has the answer. Wakanda and Atlantis have a shockingly intertwined history. Wakanda is the only country in the world with access to vibranium. However, rumors of its power spread throughout the world, and Namor's human father was sent searching for this rare material in Antarctica. That's what we got for the logline. Doesn't give us anything further. We don't know much more about that. We've had a rumor for who's being cast as Namor. I can't find it on here, but anyway, here's two civilizations that are very advanced in their own way and
very hidden from the world. And so, well, it'll be interesting to see how they do Atlantis and Namor. It'll be interesting how they do Negamore, or however you're saying it, because he's technically an X-Men.
Yeah, he's technically a mutant, isn't he?
And so it's like, it'll be interesting to see if they do like what they did with Quicksilver and Scarlet Witch and call them, what do they call them, miracles, or if they
call them miracles at first
because they didn't have the rights, but now that they have the rights, can they just do it the right way?
I didn't think about this. This is interesting. You think that this means
Excellent
that they're going to
King number 3
was the most handsome one number 2?
Yes.
Okay. I'll give it to you. What was I just saying? Oh, so this comes out. It's set to be released on July 8th, 2022. So literally almost a year away. Are they going to introduce mutants before then so that Namor can be a mutant? That'll be interesting.
Oh, interesting. I bet they don't. I bet they just because he is a mutant, but I bet because you can do his whole story without ever touching.
Yeah, it has nothing to do with his story whatsoever. So
right, I think you just got to create a person that hates humans.
Very much so. Yeah, that it'll be cool to see these two clash. Of course, we don't want to speculate too much on who's going to be the new Black Panther until they
Are they
announce
recasting one?
They haven't. They said they are not recasting T'Challa, so there won't be the T'Challa character, but they will put somebody in the Black Panther suit.
I bet
whom that might be, I don't know.
I bet it's his sister there. I mean, she took it over.
Letitia Wright.
She took over in the comics in one of the worst comic lines because he was out. T'Challa was out in space and her job was to like save him. So she took over as Black Panther and had like two comics where she was trying to save him and then went off on all these other adventures. It's like your brother, he's out there. He needs your help.
She's like, the power. I like this. We'll see. She is the leading candidate to take over, probably because of that storyline. We'll see. Anyway,
you've also got White Tiger. That's another one. Yeah.
White Tiger. You have M'Baku as a possible replacement. I think he'd be a really good replacement.
He'd be a good twist because he always wanted it, didn't he?
Right. Yeah, he wanted it. And he really he was kind of like
he had a nice redemption
breakout of the movie, and then he had a good relationship with T'Challa in Infinity War, so it would be a natural progression to hand it down to him.
I bet they are regretting every second that they killed off what's his name there, Jordan.
Yeah, Michael Jordan.
Jordan. They're regretting it because they're like, damn it.
What the hell is his name? Well, you never see a body, so there's always a chance. Until you see a body, it's always up in the air. Next on the rundown, last rundown, then we get to X-Men. Not much to talk about here. This is not one of my favorite series, but Noah Hawley says his visual effects TV series will be set on Earth and confirms it won't be about Ripley. So for the new Alien show that Noah Hawley, who was the showrunner for Legion, an X-Men storyline, he's creating an Alien TV series that will be set on Earth, and it will not be about Ripley, who is played by Sigourney Weaver.
I think that makes sense to
put it on Earth.
Well, if you put it on Earth and not have her in it, you can do almost like, because Prometheus was like the
super prequel.
The super prequel, and I think you go even more. You've got to have space with the aliens if you're going to do it, but I guess it makes sense to not have Ripley. I mean, her story is she's a great hero, one of the best female heroes there are.
For sure. This is what a quote from Noah Hawley. It's not a Ripley story. She's one of the great characters of all time, and I think the story has been told pretty perfectly, and I don't want to mess with it. It's a story that's set on Earth as well. The alien stories are always trapped in a prison, trapped in a spaceship. I thought it would be interesting to open it up a little bit so that the stakes of what happens if you can't contain it are more immediate, and that part got me excited. So
I can see
that's really cool. If they have no idea how to contain the aliens and they're running free, that's some scary stuff.
Because they've got acid blood. How do you fight something with blood that is acid?
Yeah, it's like, I don't want to kill him. He's going to acid on me. Oof. That just sounds terrible. Very excited. Not much more is known about it. We don't have a release date on it. Don't even have a platform that it's on. Although I feel like it might be on Amazon. I don't know. We'll find out more about that, and we'll keep you up to date on the rundown. So with that being said, let's get to some... Sing that song, Brett. X-Men. I wanted to wait to do an X-Men show with you, Brett, because how many conversations have we had about X-Men and how important
hours
X-Men
did we
were.
log on X-Men?
How
What was
many
that game?
X-Men Legends.
Yeah, Legends.
Oh, such a good game. Cyclops was a beast in that game.
I think Beast is Beast. Cyclops.
Yeah, Cyclops was he was a beast. He was a badass.
Gotcha.
Yeah. Okay. Anyway, with the special segment, I like to kind of always start off with how how are things important to us? Why are things important to us? The X-Men, it's pretty simple. It's our childhood. This is a nostalgia piece to the very end. X-Men were very important to me as a kid. Saturday mornings, watching the cartoon, reading the comics, playing with the action figures. We've talked about this on our toy episode, The Triangle of Death. It's where my love of comics grew. My love of superheroes grew. I had already loved them, but it was amplified by 90s X-Men. And I'm sure it shaped me forever. And there's no going back after it. So what about you and X-Men?
Well, that theme song is
it's the best theme
it's
song
the best. You can be in a room of strangers and you hear a ringtone of that and you're like, where's the guy I'm hanging out with?
It really is. It's dun, 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 dun. It's just there's
you can hear, like, as a kid you hear that and it was like stop what you're doing, run to the couch, dive into it, knees first, get yelled at by your parents. Man,
we have a point on this, so we'll come back to the cartoon. But yeah, it's just Saturday mornings, 10:30. I think it came on after Spider-Man, didn't it?
Yeah, at least, it depends on your local channel.
Yeah. Spider-Man came on at 10, X-Men came on at 10:30, and I loved Spider-Man, and that's
but everybody loved the X-Men. Everybody loved the X-Men more because he had so many different characters and heroes, and
yeah, exactly. It was better written. It was better animation, better stories.
I don't know about that, but here's my question.
Relatively
Did they
speaking,
air them in order? Because I feel like as a kid, like I didn't even know shows had orders because it was like I would go watch and it was just like whatever random one they pulled down today.
So no, they didn't. They had this is I wish I would have known you were going to ask that because the showrunner, I don't remember his name. They were working on a week-to-week basis, and sometimes they were able to finish certain episodes way in advance, and they'd have them in the can, and then they would just air them when they could, or when they didn't have another episode ready. So they had it happens more. I think the first season was in order. Well, so the last season was shipped off to a different production, company. Like a different company, and
it's actually just a ragtag bunch of different pieces they just puzzled together.
The animation is way different.
Yeah,
it's not good. It's like a different show, and honestly, it's when Penny and I watched it, it was hard to get through it. But she loved the first 4 seasons. It would come on. It would previously on X-Men. She would say that. She would say that. She would say that along with the guy, and then it does a little bit of the what's previously on X-Men, whatever storyline they're in, and then it would get into a theme song, and she would just dance. Dun 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 dun. Dun, 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 dun. Her favorite is Jean Grey. So.
Oh yeah.
She knows what she's talking about. Anyway, okay. So X-Men, big deal. They're a big deal to us, right? We can't start talking about X-Men without talking about the comics, because this is where X-Men started. It's why everybody knows about the X-Men. And when you look at the top X-Men storylines and how they rank in all of, let's just keep it Marvel, in all of Marvel lore, you have some of the top comic storylines. You have the Phoenix Saga, Days of Future Past, The Cure, X-Men #1. It's the highest selling comic of all time. That's when they got relaunched in the 90s.
But you got to remember, like, did the comic save it, or did the show save, or did the cartoon save the show? Because it was, the X-Men have been around for a while before that, but they were always kind of like a sub comic. But it wasn't until they got big and in the 90s era that they got big and they had those storylines.
So I would say, so Chris Claremont, he's the biggest X-Men writer of all time. He was on X-Men from 1975 to 1991. His 80s run of comics is where it started to go like this.
Yep. I would agree.
And then they relaunched X-Men in 1991, and he wrote the first 3 issues. So he wrote X-Men 1, and Jim Lee did the art. And that, when did this show start? I think this show started in 92.
I can look it up for you.
Yeah, look it up, because what they did is they launched the new X-Men line of comics with Jim Lee. They were much more colorful. They had a new line.
Right. October 92.
So the X-Men one, again, it's the #1 selling comic of all time. Jim Lee redesigned them. They picked a new team. They had the normals. They had Cyclops, Jean, Storm, Rogue, Beast, and then they added Gambit and Psylocke, and I feel like I'm missing somebody in there. They did not have Iceman. They did not have Angel. I don't remember who else they're missing. But was Nightcrawler?
You keep talking. I'll look.
Yeah. So
the guy in the chair.
Yeah. Thanks, Ned. So they launched X-Men #1, and they designed it to be a storyline that was kind of what happened in the 60s when Stan Lee launched X-Men, and it was the X-Men versus Magneto. So I thought that was pretty cool. They then launched the cartoon in 1992, and they went with a lineup very similar to the comics, except for they replaced Shadowcat with Jubilee, which, 1-for-1 swap there. Not too big of a deal. I don't think Shadowcat or Kitty Pryde was the most. She only really started gaining popularity through the movies. But adding Gambit was a huge addition. Adding Psylocke was a huge addition. Or Psylocke wasn't in the TV show, but the Gambit was in the TV show, and he became a huge fan favorite at that point. So the comics in the early 90s, Chris Claremont, those first few issues with Jim Lee drawing, it was a game changer. And really, it was X-Men and Spider-Man, and they saved Marvel for as long as they could in the 90s.
Yeah, they did.
Until finally Marvel just crapped out and couldn't even save themselves and had to sell off all their movie rights.
And then buy them all back.
Or let them revert all back. But some of the more famous comic storylines, again, the Phoenix Saga is up there, maybe in the top 3 popular comic storyline of all of Marvel, and that includes, you've got the big events, you've got stuff like Civil War, you've got stuff like Secret Wars.
They were barely in Civil War. Barely.
No, I'm talking just Marvel in general storylines.
Oh, gotcha.
Where the Phoenix Saga places itself in the all-time Marvel rankings. I'd definitely say top 5 for sure. Days of Future Past is probably top 10. So you got some X-Men storylines there in the top 10, and that's in my opinion. X-Men #1 can be up there. Astonishing X-Men was written by Joss Whedon. Later on,
I didn't know that. You told me that this morning.
Yeah, so that came out, I think, 2005. right. I read it when I first got home from the Army, and it was.
Well, speaking of the devil, look, I'm playing my game right now. Look who pops up.
The man in the chair. The man in the chair. The man in the chair. Yeah, Professor X. So the Astonishing X-Men was a great storyline. It kind of relaunched the X-Men into a new era of X-Men, and thanks to Joss Whedon for that. One of my all-time favorite storylines is X-Men Schism. Came out in, I think, 2009, maybe 2010. But X-Men Schism is the story of Cyclops versus Wolverine, and where they fought. And you know what
they fought for years. It was just they didn't get to actually
this one was a whole entire storyline around it. Do you know what that led to, though?
I do not.
So that led to
the death of Cyclops, I assume.
No. Such a Cyclops hater.
I don't hate him.
It led to whoa, that's just my mind went totally blank.
Was it Avengers versus X-Men?
Was it Avengers versus X-Men?
That would be my guess, if I had to guess, because at that point, at the beginning of that, Wolverine and Cyclops are on far different sides. Cyclops just kind of, I think they just found his daughter, Summer. Is that her name?
Yeah.
And I think was she still with him, or did she go? Yeah, she was still with him. And then the Phoenix Force came down and took over. Who is it? Cyclops, Namor, Colossus, Magic, and Emma.
Yeah.
Or Emma. I lost her name.
It eventually led to Emma Frost. It eventually led to AVX, Avengers vs. X-Men. It took a few years to get there.
My second favorite run.
Such a good run. That might be the last comic I read.
Did you read them all? The whole event?
No. I am totally lost on my timeline here.
I don't think I have that one digitally, but I will get it if you want to read it, because that's a good one. Cyclops just goes ahead and takes on full villain.
Yeah, this was kind of the turning point for Cyclops, where after this event he separated himself from the X-Men, and
it's because he killed Professor X, because I'm pretty sure that's what does it.
Listen, I didn't write it. I didn't write the X-Men. Okay, I wouldn't have wrote Cyclops as a bad guy. This is a part of a fan question that was asked: is why did Marvel turn Cyclops into a douche? Well, everything in the comics, definitely, especially for the X-Men, was definitely motivated by the movies and the popularity of Hugh Jackman's Wolverine, and the movies, how they treated Cyclops is just, I mean,
I agree with that. I'll say the one thing I do like about them turning him into a douche, I don't know if that's a technical term, but he's always been such a Boy Scout, and it was nice to see him go down that lane to have some redemption, because I think that creates so much more depth to a character when they have to redeem who they are. And without that redemption, you're just a stereotypical leader. And I think that's the best part of Cyclops, is he was a stereotypical leader who got the girl. He was always the man, and having that arc to go down the wrong path and to come back to the light gave him so much more depth than I think he had before.
Yes.
Thank you.
I agree. Great point. I think that's number 4 for you. The thing about Cyclops, he's very misunderstood. He actually has maybe one of the more tragic backstories you can have as a character. His dad, his name is Corsair. He's the head of the Starjammers. He had 3 sons. He had Scott, Alex, and I can never remember the third brother's name. He's not a very big character, but Alex became Havoc. Scott became Cyclops was the very first student at the X-Men Academy for Professor X.
For gifted youngsters.
For gifted youngsters. He fell in love with the second student, Jean Grey.
Well, that's what are the odds of that?
Who wouldn't?
Pull one boy, one girl. Odds are in your favor, dude.
One very good looking boy and one very good looking girl. Yeah, that's not gonna not turn out like that. But he marries Jean Grey. Their love story is one of the best, most tragic storylines in comics because it's tragic. She gets taken over by the Phoenix Force. They have Mr. Sinister, who is trying to create the perfect mutant, and he thinks the offspring of Jean and Scott will give him that. They eventually have a child in the form of Cable, who's from the future. So his son.
At the time, he's in the present when they have him. He's just young. He's real young.
It's not like they went to the future and had him and left him in the future. But it's always the story like, okay, it's almost Spidey-esque in the sense of when he finally gets something good happening, it gets taken away from him. And that happens over and over again. After the Phoenix Saga, he falls in love with a clone of Jean Grey. Her name's Madeline Pryor. He doesn't even know she's a clone. He thinks it's Jean reincarnate. And then he finds out that she's a psycho clone created by Mr. Sinister. He falls in love with Emma Frost, who
you can't blame him there.
You can't blame him. I mean, listen, Cyclops is the Mac Daddy of the X-Men. He gets all the good-looking ladies. Basically, the only one he hasn't made out with is Jubilee for probably good reasons. Anyway, he falls in love with Emma Frost. He has this like weird mental relationship with Emma, where Jean actually walks in on him in his mind, having an affair with somebody that is also very strong mentally. It's just Cyclops is very misunderstood in the sense that people think he's this Boy Scout leader, and yes, he is. He tries to do well all the time, but he's much more than that. And if people gave him a chance, you would see that.
But what I'm saying is, I think it's the first time he stood on his own. Like it was.
Oh, for sure. I 100% agree with that.
Because it's like all those storylines are like it was him and Jean, him and Professor X, and it was the first time he was tested. He failed. And he gets to redeem himself by himself. I
agree 100%. And his redemption is still ongoing in the comics too. So he's got a lot to redeem himself for. He became the leader of the mutant race in the comics. Him and Magneto really team up a lot. So
Magneto's the man. He might be one of my favorite villains.
And
easily.
Yeah, well, and he's really, I would say, because of Michael Fassbender, has become super popular in the comics. They really did a good job at writing him differently than there's just the mass genocide of humans. Magneto, he's not just that anymore.
He might be the most in-depth villain. Like his backstory, if you want to talk tragedy, nothing's more tragic than the Holocaust.
Absolutely.
Nothing.
I would definitely say Magneto's,
and even in those first movies,
got the most tragic backstory.
Even in those first movies where it's him getting taken away from his parents and he's pulling on that gate, it's like you feel for him. And then he's the villain. You're like, no, like what happened between here and there? And in reality, nothing happened. That's cause and effect.
Right. I mean, that scene at the Holocaust where he's pulling on the gates, both times it's done.
Both times. It's done perfectly. Both times.
Perfectly. So let's talk about characters, because we're talking a lot about Cyclops and Magneto. Because the X-Men wouldn't be the X-Men if it didn't have good characters. I almost said obviously. Does that count?
No,
We haven't said it yet.
I know it. I was going strong, and then you just almost said it, and then you said it, telling us that you almost said it.
Open the floodgates there. So let's start with Professor X, the leader of the X-Men. He's I'm losing my words here. He's the reason why we have the X-Men. Let's start there. Okay. Then if you go with the First Class, which was what Stanley started with, you had Scott, Jean, Beast, Angel. Scott, Beast, Jean, Angel, Iceman. Right? Yeah. So that was the First Class. They really started to expand the team in the 70s with Storm, Colossus, Nightcrawler.
Yep.
Warpath. Those were the big additions in the 70s. And then the 80s, Chris Claremont really started expanding the team even more, bringing in characters like Shadowcat and
Gambit, right? Was he in
Gambit was late 80s. Rogue.
I would like to know if there was any or how much research went into like when they started putting together the cartoon, like who they chose, because it's such a vast casting of who they chose. Why did they choose the ones that did?
So they chose the ones they did based off of the reimagining that Chris Claremont of X-Men #1. But they released the comic in 1991. They had the show in development. They said, we need these characters that are going to be off of this comic. It's just like what you said, that triangle. You had the comics that led down to the cartoon and the toys, and then those two came together.
Comics, toys, money.
Yeah. And they wanted the show to resemble the comics, obviously. So
damn you.
I know, I told you I opened the floodgates. So it was almost similar to the team. They didn't include Psylocke in the cartoon, even though she was in the comics.
Because of her pants.
She might have been too racy for the comics, or the cartoon, because she was a pretty racy character. So they threw in Jubilee wearing a yellow trench coat the entire show.
Olivia Munn, if you can hear us, save us.
Yeah, please do. Just FaceTime me, Olivia Munn. I would like to talk to you. So that's why they chose the characters they did, because it was resembling the comics.
Right. At that time.
In fact,
what you doing?
I can't really see my comics that well right now because I have a light out over here. And so my X-Men area up there, I was trying to see if there was any characters we forgot, but they started expanding the teams in the 80s. And then in the 90s, they actually went with the teams got so big. You had the blue team and the gold team. You had Cyclops running the blue team, and you had Storm running the gold team. And they were two different teams. The blue team ran by Cyclops was a little bit more of the stealthy team, while the gold team had the big hitters.
Which is why Cyclops wasn't on that team.
So you had, Google's not very, oh, you had Bishop. Okay, yeah, that was another one. I have it in cards. The cards really, why isn't Google giving me what I want? Well, the blue team had Cyclops, Rogue, Psylocke, Gambit, Beast, Wolverine, and Jubilee. So that's a heavy hitter of a team.
Why in the hell would you put Wolverine on his team? It's like asking for implosion.
Well, again, you can have with the blue team, they were a little bit more of the stealthier. So you had Psyche, Rogue, Beast, Gambit, Psylocke, Wolverine, and Jubilee. On the gold team, you had Storm, Jean, Colossus, Bishop, Archangel, and Iceman. So you had you had 3 Omega 5 level mutants on that team with Jean, Storm, and Iceman. Angel might be.
I don't think he's Omega.
No, but he's very powerful as Archangel. And Bishop's really cool. Of course, Colossus is the heavy hitter. So that was really cool to see the team split up in that direction. Yeah, that's really cool. And then you also had in the 90s, it really started in the 80s. You had teams breaking off of X-Men and creating their own team. So you had X Factor, you had X Force, and then those comics became very, 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 very popular, with X Force being led by Cable. You had X Factor being led by Havoc, Cyclops' brother, and some really great characters within those two teams. Wasn't much of an X Force fan, but I did like X Factor.
I feel like when they started branching off, it was hard to keep track of everything when they had so many branches. X-Men then is like Spider-Man now. There's so many branches, it's hard to track all of it.
Yeah. Well, and then you have New Mutants. You have you know, it's just they definitely started
squeezing the money jar. How much can we get out of this?
Yeah.
We got a sock of money. How much can we get out?
Yeah. And then as far as villains go, we've been saying Spidey has the best rogues gallery.
He does.
X-Men's is up there. They're there. You obviously have Magneto.
Who's number 1? Boom, easy. In my opinion.
I said obviously. You got to drink. I got to do it. You got to do it. You know the game.
I know.
Okay, so Magneto, number 1.
Boom.
Apocalypse, pretty popular.
And his he was good. He was all right in the movie.
I hated that movie.
Okay.
Sorry, go ahead.
It had a living mud in it, you monster.
I know, it was like the most redeeming quality of that movie.
Oh, he's playing Moon Knight, the guy who played Apocalypse.
Yes. Yeah. That
was the only point I wanted to make.
Very good point. 5. You have Mr. Sinister. You have the Marauders. You have Blob, I guess Blob, Firestar, and who's the other guy that's part of that?
You got Toad. You got
Toad. Yeah. What's Magneto's group called?
The Brotherhood.
The Brotherhood of Evil Mutants, right?
Something like that.
Something like that. I think that's what it's called. The Brotherhood of Evil Mutants. You have Kane Marco and Juggernaut. I love Juggernaut. He is one of the most underrated villains.
I think I think he's definitely one of the best villains. But I feel like none of the movies that tried to make him popular did him any justice. I mean, the best you get out of the first one, X3 is I'm the Juggernaut, bitch, and it's like Jesus, like
yeah, no.
And then in the next one, like he was almost cartoonish. He was comedy.
In Deadpool too.
Yeah.
At least they got his size.
Right, but man,
and the helmet.
And the helmet, but he's so like,
and the fact that he's not some guy to mess with. Like at least they got that part right. Like he
didn't get any of his lore right and where he got his powers from. Like, I mean, he's not an X-Men.
No, he's not a mutant.
No, he's not a mutant.
No, he's cursed by the Jewel of Satorak. Yep. So he such a great character.
And what's his relationship with Professor X?
He's the stepbrother of Professor X.
Stepbrother. I knew it was like, I always want to say brother, but I know he's not a brother.
Well, they call each other brother.
They do.
Yeah.
which is a strange pairing. Like of all the
I know
all the characters, it's a strange pairing.
Stepbrother.
The unstoppable juggernaut and Wheels McCoy.
Why can't I think what's the guy that Kevin Bacon?
Who do you play?
Who do you play? What's that guy's name? Sebastian Shaw. What? And what's his group called? Why I'm like?
Oh, he was part of the. Oh, dang it!
I know.
He was with Emma Frost in the Hellfire
Club. Nice, good memory. So the Hellfire Club. Then you also, I mean, so many. I'm trying to think of other X-Men villains, but they're up there in the top echelon of having the best. I think they have better villains than the Avengers.
Oh, I wouldn't say the Avengers have it. Like they have some villains, but their villains are always like pieced together from other.
That's a good point. Yeah, because like Loki's Thor and
right. I mean, the Avengers are a group.
King is an Avengers villain,
right? Yeah.
Well, he's also a Fantastic Four villain though too. So.
I mean, the Avengers are a group of heroes come together, and usually it's like a group of villains or like one master plan coming together for.
Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah, good point. Okay, so let's talk cartoon. So, cartoon. What I love about the cartoon is. My dad loved watching it with me. My mom loved watching it with me. Big friend of the family, Janet Baxter. She used to watch my sister and I as a kid. And I'd be remiss if I didn't mention her name because she was a big part of my X-Men history. She really encouraged my nerdum as a kid, so I love that. Thank you, Janet. She watched it with me. I mean, it was a show as a kid. You knew when it was 10:30, you knew where I was. I wasn't missing it.
You could set your watch.
Yeah,
stumble safe.
Like you said, you ran and skid your knees on the carpet, and it was locked on.
Marked as safe on Facebook.
Yes. So. Big part of my childhood and something I'll never forget. And I loved rewatching it with Penny. That was pretty awesome.
I liked watching the show and then trying to find the action figures. Man, there's still it was like a big box set of I think like 10 different X-Men that came together. Well, 10 different, you know what I'm talking about? Had 5 heroes, 5 villains, and it was like
maybe
holy grail. As a kid, it's like if I found that, like I would mow 1,000 yards to make that happen.
Let me look that up. You know what was one of my favorites was the Gambit one. He had like that plastic trench coat.
Yeah, that like pleather trench coat.
yeah.
I remember getting BT, my brother there, the Archangel for Christmas or something like that.
Just seeing these toy boxes brings back so many memories.
Yeah, they had some of the best toys. Like those were some of the ones that, like finding a Wolverine. There's so many different versions of Wolverine. It was hard to find. I don't even think I ever owned the yellow and black version. I had the like mustard yellow brown version where he had like his mask would come off. It was kind of made like a ring, but that was a good version because you could like retract his claws with the thing.
Yeah.
The only problem is like his hands are always like this. But to be fair, everyone's were.
I love the Archangel one. I don't think I ever owned a Professor X now that I think about it. I liked how the Iceman was translucent pretty much.
BT had Professor X. It was fun, like, because it was like, I loved going out and getting the characters and then trying to recreate the shows.
Mm-hmm.
It was so much fun. I loved recreating them.
It was really hard for me to find Cyclops in this outfit. I had him in the the blue costume with the white X, you know. I had that one. I liked the Wolverine with the jacket.
Yeah, I remember that one.
The leather
I still think
jacket.
the mustard brown is my favorite costume he has.
Mustard.
It's the mustard yellow.
The red, mustard yellow and red.
No, it's brown and black. Mustard yellow, brown and black.
You're gonna have to show me a picture.
Oh, I can do that right now, easy, because I have him on my game. It's the current uniform he has. Boom, that one. Can you see that? Jesus, I'm not.
Yeah. Okay, so that was the 80s. That was the 80s Wolverine. That was his costume in the 70s and 80s. In fact, he started in the Incredible Hulk. That was his first issue, and he had the yellow costume on.
Yeah, but he didn't have the.
Yeah, it was. He had very small wings on his head.
Yeah,
and then they moved him to that costume in the 80s once he joined the X-Men. So I love that. I love that costume more than the yellow one. Isn't that red? The red and yellow?
No, it's brown.
Anyway, lost my place here. Where were we? Talking about the cartoon. Let's talk about the movies.
All right. I feel like this is all intertwined as we've gone. Like
it is. Yeah. There's not really we're all, even the nerd questions are in here because some of the questions are stuff we've talked about. So the first movie was released in 1999 and it made $60 million at the box office, which at that time was gigantic. And from there on, the X-Men movies were a huge thing. And they started off good. Loved them. X-Men 1 at the time, great. Really great. X-Men 2, even better.
True.
And do you remember X-Men 3 leading up to X-Men 3? Do you remember how
freaking because we were in the army at that point.
We were out of the army. It was 2006. We had just gotten out of the army.
We just gotten out. Were we still in?
It was in May of 2006.
Did we see it together?
No.
My memory's fading. I can tell you.
We saw Spider-Man 3 together.
You came to me in Pennsylvania at the time.
Yeah. Yep. But we were leading up. I mean, the trailers for the Last Stand, X-Men Last Stand, were so good, and I still to this day put that as that and The Last Jedi. I've never walked out of a movie theater more pissed off in my life.
I still have only ever seen X3 once.
Exactly. Yeah, I've never watched it again. And I've only watched The Last Jedi that one time. So
me too.
I have no plans to ever go back and watch that shitty freaking movie ever again.
Even like, I'm not the biggest Cyclops fans, but they did him so dirty in that. Like, I don't know what they were. They
did him dirty in all the movies. I mean, he was okay in the first one, but he was still kind of a whiny guy. Second one, he was barely in it because he gets kidnapped and then he gets killed off the first 10 minutes in X-Men 3.
Ridiculous.
So, yeah, I mean, listen, I get Wolverine is he's the money maker. There's no denying that.
But on the other side of that coin was always Cyclops.
Right. And their rivalry is really a great driving force of the X-Men. And
it was always that
internal, not capitalize off that.
It was that internal struggle of the X-Men that they had to, they lived together. They had their problems with each other. There was, friends and not so friends in the mansion. But when it came time, they had to make the choices and do what was right.
Yeah. And when it came time to it, Wolverine was definitely, for lack of better terms, submissive to Scott in the field. And he
the words you use. Poke yourself in the eye. He listened to commands. You don't say submissive.
I've got to get my Wolverine burns in where I can. There was times, and I could even point out
rundown numbers plummet.
I will go down with like Astonishing X-Men. If you said you haven't read that.
No, I've not read a lot of X-Men. I thought we were movies now.
I know. What I'm bringing it back to one point.
Okay.
There's a point in Astonishing X-Men where Wolverine even says, he's like, every now and then again, Scott, I'm reminded as to why you're the leader of the X-Men. Josh Whedon did Cyclops justice in that run, and the movies did not, and it's a big miss. And now with Marvel Studios owning the rights to X-Men, I really hope Kevin Feige, like, my heart beats a mile a minute for a good Cyclops. And I get people want to see the Foxman movies brought over into this universe, but we're going to recast the X-Men here in a minute. And I hope that they recast for a future.
You didn't like the kid that played Cyclops in the new ones?
No, I didn't even like him.
No?
I don't think he was bad as a young Cyclops, but you'll see
Cyclops.
You'll see where I want them to go with Cyclops. Okay.
I did like how they had Havoc though. Like, I like how they brought in Havoc and then him.
I did. Scott is the older brother. I didn't like that they changed that. So, but I did like bringing in Havoc. I think Havoc is a very good character, and he's got as tragic backstory as anybody. So,
but I think that's the only way they could go tragic, because it was like they killed off Havoc in the movies, and that's kind of one of the driving forces of Scott in that one, because they couldn't. I mean, they didn't show his parents getting off.
Right. Right. Well, of course, they're still out there in space. Let's talk about good stuff from the movies first.
Okay, good stuff.
Okay, so like we said, X-Men 1 came out. It was really good. Casting was really good for the most part. Loved Ian McKellen as an older Magneto.
Yep, I was pumped.
Patrick Stewart was born to play Professor X.
I was pumped that they got all. They were all pretty unknown, except for those two.
Yeah, they were.
And I'm glad they dumped their money into those two.
Yeah, for sure. They were the driving force. They carried those movies.
And all of them had good careers afterwards. I mean, can you think of one of them that didn't? Like, they were all like.
Anna Paquin didn't have as big of a career. She's
still a fairly well-known actress.
She's a very well-known actress, but you think about the others and how their careers exploded. Well, why can't I think?
Because she had that. I mean, she was on the show.
I mean, Halle Berry was a big name.
Yeah, but she wasn't huge at the time.
She was pretty big, but she wasn't as big as Ian McKellen.
No.
But she definitely took her career. Also, as I hit myself in the face, took off after that too.
They all did.
Die another day. Why am I blanking on who was in X-Men 1? It was a small crew, I guess. It really started expanding in X-Men 2 when they brought on Iceman and Pyro. Mystique. That was another character that was really big in the movies and not so much from the comics.
They really tried to force her. They really
especially in the later movies.
Yeah, I mean, I was Jessica Lawrence. Is that it? Jennifer Lawrence. Like, she was definitely it was like they picked her, and then we got to pick someone for her to play, and then we've got to make it a big character. Because she was a huge name at the time they cast her, and then they put her as Mystique, and then it was like they just made the movie based off the actress.
Yeah,
which is fine. I mean, that one was good. I thought I was upset because X-Men First Class I thought was an extremely good movie.
Love that movie. I Love that movie.
And they only gave that director the one shot.
I know. It was,
and it's like he put it back on the map because Bryan Singer, like, it's like he accidentally hit gold with the first and second one. And the first one, is it a great movie? Yes, it's great because it started it, but it
doesn't hold up.
Right, it doesn't hold up. No. The second one holds up a lot better.
Yeah, but if you watch it compared to some of the MCU stuff,
oh yeah,
it's not even close. It's still good. I'll watch it.
I'll enjoy it.
I'll watch Thor: The Dark World over X-Men too.
But it was like I have never been a huge Bryan Singer fan, and never. I feel like,
and now he's a piece. It's come out that he's the biggest piece of shit of all time, or one of them. So we don't need to talk much more about him.
Well, no, I mean that was the point I was driving at. Like, who directed X-Men First Class? Who was that?
Yeah, Vaughn.
Yeah. But it was like I thought he did extremely well with the cast that he had because he didn't have any huge.
And it was Magneto rushed too.
Yeah, and then it was like they had a little bit of success, and they're like, "Mr. Singer, come on back." It was like, and it was like, "Come on."
I know it. What is that guy's name? It was so. Going back, taking a step back, they were creating they were expanding the X-Men universe through solo stories. They started with Wolverine Origins. Terrible movie. And then that did so bad that they scrapped the plans for the rest of the solo movies. They had a Magneto one, and they used the outline for that movie for First Class. And that's a Magneto movie just as much as it's an X-Men movie.
Easily, yeah.
And Michael Fassbender is so good in that movie. He's so good as Magneto all the time.
Yeah.
If they were bringing over a few characters, it would have to be Michael Fassbender and Olivia Munn.
I feel like you can't bring over Magneto
without McAvoy.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know.
Because I thought they played each other so well. Like you could feel the connection between the two, and it's like the break between the two is it's emotional. Like they do very well together.
Yeah, I know. I can't wait to see what they do with the X-Men. Oh, I wish we'd just get something on it. Okay, so then Bryan Singer came back, made Days of Future Past. I'm not a big fan. I'm not a big fan of it. I thought it was a little anticlimactic. First half of the movie was excellent. I did like how they brought in the old cast for that movie.
I did, and that's what I was going to say. I liked the most. I like how they had the blend of the two casts. Yeah. And
then Age of Apocalypse.
But the Sentinels sucked.
Oh, the Sentinels were terrible. And that I'm still waiting because this is another thing about The Last Stand, X-Men The Last Stand. They tease us in that beginning scene of a perfect looking Sentinel when Wolverine chops the head off and it comes down, rolls down, and you're looking at it, you're like, I can't wait to see the Sentinels. And then it's the Danger Room, which was cool to see too. But I'm still waiting for a good Sentinel in an X-Men movie. Honestly, if they had need to adapt a storyline, they could adapt the first 2 episodes of the cartoon.
Yeah.
Night of the Sentinels, which was
just going off and collecting them.
Yeah, that would be a really cool movie to watch. And then Age of Apocalypse came out, and that was terrible. I watched that movie one time and waited for.
I didn't think it was terrible. Here's what I liked about it. Give me 2 seconds. Here's what I liked about it.
1,000. 2.
I liked seeing I thought it was really rushed, but I like seeing kind of the rise of Jean Grey going from. I like seeing the connection her and Cyclops made, and kind of the rise of her. Now it was scaled up way too fast. But I did like her casting. I liked his casting. I thought they worked well together. I like the younger version of the X-Men and them kind of coming together, like the actual X-Men, I guess the ones that we know.
Yeah. For
the first time, I liked Nightcrawler. I liked how they did Angel, although I wanted to see him come. Like I liked how he was done, but I wanted to see a good version of him before an evil version of him. Obviously, I liked Olivia Munn.
Oh, you said obviously.
Oh shit.
Yeah. How can you not like a Louis? Man?
Here's the one thing that I did not feel like Apocalypse was extremely menacing, because all he did was get Professor X and make him do what he wanted.
Yeah. Those are your sixth great point of the day. It's a good job.
I got number 7 then ready. It's loaded.
For right now? Are you going to fire it off right now? Go fire it off. Fire.
Here's the biggest miss.
For this movie or
for this movie?
In general? Okay.
You finally had Quicksilver, Pietro, meet his father, and nothing. And nothing.
Yeah. So the Quicksilver character, played by Evan Peters, came in Days of Future Past, and that was another instance where a character, they did really well with him.
They did do really well, although it was like they
did it so well it creates giant plot holes, because they made him so godlike so fast. Why couldn't they bring him along for every mission? You know, in Days of Future Past, he could have easily saved the day. So great scenes, but they made him so godlike. I mean, the fact he's in what's the Dark Phoenix? The only scene
that was terrible.
Only thing I've seen from that is where he saves everybody in the mansion, and
that was an Apocalypse.
Was that no?
Yeah,
there was,
because he shows up. Was
it Apocalypse
for the first time when it's about to blow up?
Yeah. Okay. So it was Apocalypse. You're right. Absolutely, you're right. Because in Phoenix,
he breaks his leg. He breaks his leg, and they're like, "Get this guy out of here." It was like they didn't want to pay him, and they're just like, "Break his leg."
Well, they were probably like, "We can't just do it all, the same thing over and over again." But yeah, you're right. Apocalypse, he's
huge miss.
So,
Dark Phoenix. Let's get it done.
Dark Phoenix. I don't have much to say.
I think that one's fine if
terrible.
You watch it as a standalone, doesn't attach to anything. I don't know a damn thing about the X-Men. I want to watch a movie. It's fine. But it was like the casting was still good. It was just like, did you guys try in this? Like, that's what it was. The villain was not even, you can't even use the word subpar, because that word's too good for that villain.
Right.
What was her name? I don't even remember her name. She's a great actress.
Jessica Chastain. Yeah, that's all I know.
Terrible villain.
So that was the last X-Men movie. They almost didn't even release it. Marvel Studios regained the rights back when Disney bought Fox Studios. And now it's time for Kevin Feige to do his magic, work his magic, and give us a real great X-Men story. So what we're going to do is we're going to cast that and wrap this whole thing up. Cool? So we came up with our own casting for the new MCU version. And we tried to decide, we didn't say, okay, it's going to be a young team only, or it's going to be an old team, or we're bringing the Foxman people over. We're casting who we think is the best person for the job. So I'm going to start with you, Brett.
Okay. Who do you want to start with?
Let's start with the man. Cyclops.
Oh, I was going to say
that. Go ahead. I want to hear your casting.
Let me prelude it by saying I'm trying to cast a team roughly in their late 20s to mid 30s, because most of them are in that age, because I feel like they've got to stand with the current Avengers in the MCU. So I didn't want a super young team, because I wanted to. Plus, we cast Eastwood last week as Wolverine, and while Wolverine is ageless, like I wanted to cast kind of that range so that they can grow with the MCU.
Yep.
I will say,
and we're keeping the Scott Eastwood, right?
Yes,
casting, I did. Okay, because I didn't come up with a new caster.
Nope, we already answered that question.
Cool.
So with that, I'm going to say I would leave Quicksilver as Evan Peters. I hated that they did that in WandaVision. I'm not sure what their plan is, but I want to see I
The
like
boner
him.
joke.
Yeah, I want to see that stay. So I did not put him on this list.
Okay. Yeah, I don't have him.
Okay, so here's my casting for Cyclops. I went with, and this is gonna make
Me mad?
what?
No, go ahead.
No, this is gonna make my girlfriend very happy. I went with Sean Michael Murray from Lucas from One Tree Hill because he can play. I feel like he does very well at being someone that is likable for the ladies. I feel like he was a very strong leader in that. And I don't know if you watched. I think it's a show Riverdale. Yeah, Riverdale.
No.
He's an older
adult.
character in that, and an adult, and he plays a very pompous leader in that. And I feel like
What's his name? Chad Michael Murray?
no, Sean Michael Murray. Isn't it Sean? You're
I thought
killing
it
me.
was Chad.
It might be Chad. Man, I really pissed off my girlfriend then. Oh, it is Chad. Chad Michael Murray. Oh
Yeah.
no. I'm going down in an earlier round. Chad Michael Murray.
Chad Michael Murray. Does he have hair yet? Does he have hair yet? Yeah, he always had
Yeah, he's got hair.
Buzz cut. Is he blonde?
He is blonde.
You're gonna make Cyclops a blonde?
It's hair. You can change it. And blonde's the easiest hair color to change.
No, I'm not sure about this casting, Brett.
I am.
I'm joking.
I mean, I feel like the adult version of him, I feel like could do it. I feel like he's got
this. I like this picture of him. This is a good one.
I don't know what you're looking at. Is that the one with the tie, the red tie?
No, red tie.
Well, never mind. I feel like I like him because I feel like he looks strong. He looks the part. He was also in what was that one show? Agent Carter, right? He was in Agent Carter.
Oh, I think you're right. I didn't watch all of that, but I do remember.
I would cast him. That's my pick. I feel like
he's a good-looking guy.
I don't know why you feel like that's a characteristic I look for in a Scott Summers. I feel like he could be a
Cyclops has to be a good-looking guy.
Yeah, he does get the ladies. So I feel like Chad Michael Murray is someone that I could go with, and I would. He's 39.
I get it. Okay, so I'll give you that. It's not a bad one. Good one.
Not a bad one.
Okay, I went with an older Cyclops. Both my Cyclops and Jean are a little bit older, with the rest of them being a little bit younger, because I think that they could tie it into those being they've grown up with Professor X at school, and
I don't want to see that story again. Yep.
Yeah. So, and then they go out and recruit all the rest of them, all the rest of the young ones. But I'm really hoping we can bring Henry Cavill into the MCU, and I think he looks.
That's such a cop out.
It's not a cop out. It's not. He looks the part. He could play the part. He's an incredible actor, and he can be.
Who did
a great Cyclops?
Who played Cyclops in the original one?
James Marsden.
Who did he play later on?
Who did James Marsden play later on? Like,
wasn't he in the Superman movies?
Yeah, he was.
So you want to take the guy who played Scott Summers and then went to Superman and then be like, well, screw you, we'll go get.
He didn't play Superman.
He was just in it, right?
Yeah, he was Superman's son's stepdad. That was it. He wasn't. He didn't have powers or anything.
I guess I'll give it to you, but I feel like it's a cop out. I feel like that one.
Does that not look like Henry Cavill?
No.
I think it does. Again, I want an older Cyclops, but still somebody who could be Cyclops for 10 years. And
I'll give you the personality he plays goes with it.
Yeah.
Especially in The Witcher and as Superman, but.
Yeah. Well, and he can handle the physical aspects of the role too, and he could be a leader of a team. So
I like mine better. Vote below in the comments below. Let us know who's got this.
Please do. Okay, Gene, I'll go first.
Okay.
I went with Evan Rachel Green. Did you watch Westworld?
Yeah.
Dolores.
Which one was that? The main girl in the first season?
Mm-hmm.
You did go for older.
For Jean and Psych. So I think she, from Westworld, watching Westworld, she can play like a very mentally challenged, not like,
wow.
Yeah, that came out wrong. Like Jean's got a lot of psych issues because she gets taken over by the Phoenix Force and she just goes through a lot, but she's also one of the most powerful mutants of all time. Evan Rachel Green can play the...
Oh, she's a lot younger than I thought.
How old is she?
She's younger than we are. She's 33.
Is she really?
Yeah. Evan Rachel Wood.
Yes, that's what I meant.
She's 33.
I said Evan Rachel Green. You said Sean Michael.
We're terrible at our jobs. It's a good thing we've got real jobs, and this is just for funsies.
It's funny that we both knew who we were talking about. Evan Rachel Green is somebody else, I feel like. Oh, Rachel Green is...
But she's a lot younger than I thought.
From Friends. Yeah, she is. I thought she was a little...
That's a good call.
I'm not saying she looks older, but she...
But she played an older character. That's a good call.
Okay.
Even I'm going to go to the comments and vote for you. No, I went with again. This one I went with Maggie Grace. She was Shannon from Lost. She was in Taken.
Okay, I feel knew like that name sounded familiar.
I feel like I went with her because she can, especially in Lost, she played that like. At first, everything revolved around her. And then she kind of reverted to understanding that things don't. And I think Jean Grey is almost the opposite, where she's very, like she doesn't quite understand her powers. Yeah. And when she does, then everything revolves around her. And so I feel like I went with that because I feel like, and I'm sorry she didn't have red hair. Like we can dye that, right? Like we could get her a wig or something.
Yeah, I think Evan Rachel Wood has blonde hair. So yeah.
But I went with her because I feel like she's also long haul. Although I don't know how old she is. Let me look.
I don't know. I'll talk about our next point because it's the same.
Are you going to give me a grade? How'd I do?
Oh yeah. I'm going to go with my pick on that one.
Well, that doesn't help me at all in my... She's 37.
Oh.
I'm fine with that.
Yeah, I like that number. Yeah, no, it's a good pick. I wasn't the biggest fan of her in Lost, and maybe that's why I'm a little hesitant about it. But
what about Taken? She got taken under a bed.
She got taken under her bed.
Jesus,
she was really annoying in that movie too. Just I was like, take that bitch. So, do not
take this out of context, folks. Do not take the last 15 seconds out of context.
Yeah, that's not advocating for anything else. So it's just a movie. I'll take Evan Rachel Wood over her.
I guess that's why you picked her.
Yeah.
Let us know in the comments, folks.
Yeah. Now, Gambit, we're going with the same guy, right?
Yeah, we got the same guy. This is what we actually talked about beforehand.
Yeah. So this is we're not advocating for any of the previous X-Men people to be brought over, except for maybe 2 or 3 people. But this one it doesn't count because X-Men Origins or Wolverine Origins is one of the worst movies of all time. It's terrible.
Deadpool, and I'm not even a huge Deadpool fan, but they
butchered him. They butchered another.
Every shot Ryan Reynolds takes them, they deserve. Everyone.
He's and I don't think he's done. He's going to do it for a long time.
Well, they deserve it.
Yeah, they do. They as I saying, where was I? Oh, they butchered another character in that movie who has a very huge fan following, Gambit. And in that movie, he's played by Taylor Kitsch, of Friday Night Lights and just about any of the what's that director? Peter Berg's movies. He's in a lot of Peter Berg movies. But great casting for that role, but the movie just couldn't do it right. So this is wronging that right?
Yeah, damn right.
Okay.
He was born for that role, and he was perfect casting.
Yeah.
And even in the movie, he played it perfectly.
He could do it very well. Now he's a little bit older.
39.
Now,
I looked it up for you already.
Okay. So I think he's still got it. He can still do it.
He's still in my range. He's still in my range.
He's like one of Banana's favorite guys. Okay, next, Rogue. Who you got?
I got two. Who
you got?
Here's the one I like better. I'm gonna butcher her name. Was it Tyron Manning? She played Pennsyltucky in Orange is the New Black. She was in Crossroads with Britney Spears. She's a DJ down in.
You say that like
Florida.
I've seen Crossroads.
No, I didn't see it, but I'm assuming most of our listeners loved it.
What's her name?
Jesus, you're gonna make me read my own chicken scratch. TAR.
No, just say her name.
I said Tyron. TARYN. TARYN. Manning.
I know. I know who you're. Taryn Manning. Okay.
She's 42.
Okay. I know this girl. Woman.
I went with her as I think she could do it better because I think she could do it better. My other one was, and I'm going to butcher her name. Save the Cheerleader, Save the World. Hayden.
Oh, Hayden Panettiere.
Yep.
For Rogue.
And we know I know she can do the Southern thing. Although Pennsyltucky can be Southern, but I also think Hayden she kind of has a little bit too much innocence to her when you look at her.
Okay.
Whereas I want my Rogue to be, I'm not using the word dirty, but like I want her to be a little bit like scarred up, like hurt. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah.
Not innocent, like has been through something.
Which, for somebody who can't have physical contact with somebody and who put, her first boyfriend in a coma because she kissed him, she's going to go through some stuff. She's going to have some emotional scarring. And so I picked Cara Delevingne, somebody we talked about last week on the show. Cara Delevingne, she was the Enchantress in Suicide Squad.
Oh, yeah. The one that I butchered her name. You
butchered her name, yeah. And I picked her because she could. If you put the big curly hair and the white streak in her hair, I think she would look just like Rogue from the comics. And you want to talk about somebody that just looks like she has emotional scarring.
I can see that as well.
And she's a great actress. So, Cara Delevingne is my pick.
Okay.
Who
you got next?
Storm. I have two. I'll go first.
Okay.
You have Jessica Williams, who I just went off of her page. Let me go to it real quick. Jessica Williams, she looks the part first for Storm. And then also, I'm not typing very well. I think my keyboard is dying. So Jessica Williams, here we go. She was in Hot Tub Time Machine 2, Delivery Man. She was in The Incredible Jessica James. Fantastic. Yeah. Hot Tub Time Machine 2 is good. She really got big on The Daily Show. She was in Fantastic Beasts, The Crimes of Grindelwald, Eulalie Hicks for all of our Harry Potter fans.
Yeah, when you do that episode, you keep me away. Like I don't know anything about that.
Harry Potter?
You got to do that episode, so you better call in some heavy hitters.
I know. Believe me, we've got plenty on deck for that. So it might be just like my vacation week. or Condola Rashad, who is on the show Billions as Kate Sacker.
It's a terrible last name.
Kate Sacker?
It's a terrible last name.
Sacker?
Sacker. I don't like it. I wouldn't want that. I'm Brett Sacker. Does not ring.
Anyway, Kate Sacker, she plays a deputy district attorney on that show. Real like go-getter, real like I'm not afraid of anything. And if I had to pick of the two, I would pick her, Condola Rashad. She just is a force of nature on the show Billions. So who you got?
Okay, this I would call probably my biggest cop out.
Okay.
I went with I'm gonna butcher her name, Rosario Dawson. And I feel like it's only a cop out because she's really starting to emerge as an actress, taking the part of Ahsoka in The Mandalorian and then getting her own. But I did like her in
Luke Cage?
In all the Defenders.
Oh, yeah, all of them. Yeah, all of them, yeah.
And I feel like she has the personality. She's already played the personality that I would look for in a Storm, like a caring person that is not afraid to do some damage when necessary.
Yeah.
The other one I had was Haley Law. She was in Altered Carbon in the first. I think she was in the second season as well.
Okay.
Yeah. I thought she played someone that was that was very powerful at the end, that had to find that along the way.
Okay.
And I liked her, although it sucks that we're not going to get to see like the wedding and the kind of the love of her and T'Challa there.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, that does suck. Because that was perfect pairing,
Yeah.
How that didn't happen sooner in the comics is really big surprise. Okay. Next on the list would be good pick. Rosario Dawson's I
think she's a safer pick.
Very safe.
She's 42, so I feel like she's in my age. Although I told you I wanted late 20s, but I feel like they always bring them down.
Rosario Dawson's so, man, is she hot. Okay, I just gave away my pick.
I don't know.
For Beast. Because I want an all blue Beast. I don't want to see Hank. I don't want to see Hank. So you could cast just about anybody for voice acting, and I would cast Jeremy Irons.
I gotta look it up.
He was the bad guy in Die Hard with a Vengeance.
Wow, you went super old on that one.
Yeah, 72. But it's just a voice. So James Earl Jones has been doing the voice of Vader for 40 years.
You're right. It's just a voice, and that's fine.
And he's Jeremy Irons. He could play if you want to go with a British Beast, he could be a British Beast, or if you want just to do he could sound so philosophical when he speaks, and he's got such a great voice, and it's deep and it's raspy, and to see Beast hanging from a ceiling reading some philosophical book, I want to something like that. So I think Jeremy Irons could play that voice part.
I went with again because he's Beast and he's going to be CG. Although I do want and I butchered his name before. I just keep saying that. What I call him, Mark Rufio. Rufio. What is it really?
Ruffalo.
The way they do his face on Hulk, I do want to see that on Beast.
Okay.
While it is just a voice, I do want to see something. Although you can age it up and down however you see fit. So I went with
you can't see Ed Norton in the Incredible Hulk.
Right.
You can totally in Endgame. You could totally see Mark Ruffalo's face.
Absolutely.
Okay.
I went with Zachary Quinto. He's had a pretty big role as Spock. Spock?
Yep.
As he was in Heroes. What was his name in Heroes?
Siler.
He was in American Horror Story.
Yep.
And he played. I think he can sound extremely intelligent.
Mm-hmm.
He's someone that I can trust. I feel like he's
a good pick. I like it. Especially if he could be Beast for a long time too. So
right. Let me look up his age while you go on to the next one.
Okay.
I found it. He's 44.
Just quick. The next one on the list was Charles. I'll let you go first.
All right, Charles. this is our dream, right? We can pick anybody. So I wanted someone a little bit older.
Okay.
And I went with cream of the crop, and you're not beating it. I want Ian McGregor.
Ian McGregor. Do you mean Ewan McGregor?
Yeah.
Obi-Wan?
Yeah. That's who I want.
Okay. That's good. I like it.
I think he can change his accent. He's someone that he's not old, but he's older than this group. Let me look. How old is he?
He's like 47 or 48.
He's slightly older.
I needed to see a picture of him. I can picture him, but I need to try to picture him without hair.
He's 50. Yeah, I think you got to bald cap him, put him in the chair. Here's my second pick.
Okay.
My second pick is Terry O'Quinn. He's got it down. He's got it down. You laugh, but come on.
John Locke, baby.
Could you see it?
No, because he's not British. I mean, he has the look, and I don't know what his British accent is.
What do you mean the look? Like he's got a lot of experience in a wheelchair.
Okay, I it's an inspired pick, is what I will call that. Inspired casting.
It was a joke, really.
It's very.
Although, like, if you can picture it, like I can picture him, like if you close your eyes, put his face in the yellow floating chair.
Totally.
But I like Ewan McGregor.
Ewan.
Is that
Ewan?
Ewan McGregor.
He's Scottish. Okay, my pick is Jude Law.
Oh, I can see that.
Yeah. He's basically bald anyway. He's really
got some experience too.
In a wheelchair?
Yeah.
Jude Law?
Yeah. What is it? Gattakus.
Oh, that's right. Gattakus. Is it Gattakus? Yeah. With Ethan Hawke.
Yeah, you made me watch that for the first time in Iraq.
Because it's so good.
It is a good movie.
Yeah. Oh, that's right. I forgot. Good one.
We should not base it off of experience in a wheelchair, though. I'm just throwing that out there.
I feel like that's a learned skill. Anybody can learn how to use a wheelchair. Yeah, I think Jude Law can play. Those are
both good picks.
Very, very good picks on both sides. So we'll let the nerds decide who wins that one. Okay. Last two X-Men, Iceman and Angel. Who you got? I'll give you my Angel pick first.
Okay.
I picked Timothy Chalamet.
Yeah, look him up.
Yep. So Timothy, it's Timoth. Chalamet.
Jesus. What the heck has he been in?
He's about to be very, very big. He's the lead in Dune.
Yeah.
I think the best thing he's been in so far is he played Edward Scissorhands' son in the commercial for the Super Bowl this year. But he's gonna be one of the big names in Hollywood soon. And then for Iceman, I have Finn Wolfhard. So I went very young for these two.
I don't know what's he been in. I don't know that one either.
Stranger Things. He's the main kid in Stranger Things.
There's a whole lot of them main kids. The one with the beautiful hair.
Yeah.
Well, you know, it's funny. Like I said that last night.
You did?
I did.
You said Finn Wolfhard for Iceman?
Yeah. No, I said him for Angel last night.
Oh, really? I was trying to decide which one, but
he wasn't fit. He doesn't fit in the age that I was looking at.
I know. That's another thing is like I think that MCU needs to lock him down and putting him in a role in the X-Men.
No, I
think he'd be a really, really good Bobby Drake.
I mean, I can see that, but I can see that. I'm not saying that's wrong.
And he's going to grow with the character. And I mean, Bobby is a Omega 5 level mutant. He is one of the most powerful characters. God, he's so good in X-Men Legends too.
This is another one for a different show, but he's the one that, like, I always say I want to see play the Human Torch.
Tim Wolfhard?
Yeah. The beautiful hair.
Okay.
Like it's between him and another guy, and we'll get in that later. And you know the other one, but I liked him for that too. Okay, here's who I got. Okay. Who are we doing? Angel first.
Angel, yeah.
Angel.
We're gonna wrap this up.
yeah. Zach Gilford played Matt Saracen. He's the one I went with.
Oh, I like that. In Friday Night Lights.
Yep. Matt Saracen.
Okay. In a wheelchair. He's got some wheelchair.
Nope, that's the other one.
Oh, no, the other quarterback, right? The guy who took his place. Yeah.
Eyes wide open.
Yeah. Good pick. I like that. Okay.
All right. And then for
Saracen.
Who's the other one?
Iceman.
I went with Zach Braff.
Older pick. Explain your pick. He's on that nurses show, right?
Well, it's not nurses; they're doctors. They're doctors.
Basically, nurses.
There's one nurse in that.
Male nurse, right?
Yeah, you're gonna piss off some people here.
It's my Cyclops. This is for all the Cyclops burns.
I went with him because of Oz the Great and Powerful. I think he can play a serious role. I can see him, especially like when you look at Scrubs, which is a show he was on originally, or that he's big for. The hair is always slicked back, and I can see that in that translucent blue. So I went with him because I think he's got a recognizable face, because when Iceman's Iceman, you know, he's solid ice. He's a recognizable face that I think can be serious. I think he's a well-known name that you could put in and people will recognize, but you're not going to pay a lot for him.
Okay. So that the last piece on our list is Mr. Sinister, because we're going to have Mr. Sinister as the villain finally, and the Essex Corporation. We got a fan question from Dustin Tran, who said, I'd like more conversation around the Essex Corp and Mr. Sinister. I feel like most of those other villains need to be explored a bit more, since they have been alluded to already. Again, this kind of goes back to we're erasing the Foxman universe. There was another question that Janet Baxter had, or she kind of wanted to see the storyline pick up from, you know, Scott not getting killed by the Phoenix and it being the James Marsden and Famke Janssen storyline. Again, we're cutting that out. We're now in the MCU. It's new characters, new storylines, and they're going to be done right this time. And with that, Mr. Sinister is the big bad. I put in, so Nathaniel Essex is his real name. He was born in London, so you got to go with a London actor, and I want to go with Clive Owen as Mr. Sinister. You want to pay? I think you go with a big name for Mr. Sinister, and Clive Owen has the voice, like you know, Mr. Sinister almost has like a robotic voice. So if you alter Clive Owen's great voice already just a little bit, and he can be a physical presence, I think Mr. Sinister, it would be great as Clive Owen. Who do you got?
I think mine's better.
Okay.
I went with Dylan McDermott. He's been in American Horror Story. He's been in
yeah. Okay. I know who that is.
And I went with him. I feel like he's a little older. He's 59. And he can play intelligent. I think he's 57.
Okay.
I just looked.
Yeah. No, this is
he's 56. He's 56. I went with him because he can play someone that is like, when he plays a villain, he is mean as hell.
Yeah.
And I think he can hold on to that. Clive Owen can be mean by all means, but like when Dylan McDermott, when he makes the face of a villain, it's It's the face of someone that thinks they're 10 steps ahead of you.
Okay. Which Mr. Sinister usually is.
And it's the face that I want.
Okay. You want that face.
I want that face.
Give me that face. Okay. So that's our cast for the new X-Men story. Of course, Kevin Feige, he listens in on the show. He's writing down notes on this. He'll probably comment in the comments on YouTube about which one he likes more.
He might just text me personally. He's been known to do that.
And he's going to go with my casting. And
when they got Spider-Man, he texted me flip.
And I would expect him to do that. For Cyclops, he's definitely calling me up and be like, great choice, Darren. This is what
we went with your boy Sean. I'm sorry, Chad.
Yeah. Anyway, I'd love to see the X-Men. I can't wait to see them under the MCU. I think it's going to be the movie I've been waiting for forever. It's like I waited forever for a good Captain America story, and I finally got it. Really, when I finally saw Winter Soldier, that was the first time I felt like I finally was seeing the Captain America I loved. And I feel like I've seen so much crap Cyclops other than the cartoon that Kevin Feige is going to give us the Cyclops we deserve, and he's going to do the rest of the X-Men justice. And I can't wait for it. Because again, when I think about my childhood, the X-Men are top 3 part of my childhood. That and playing hockey in the streets and running around in costumes. So, Brett, that's it. We're with the nerd questions tied into the special segment. We're done. We're going to move on to our Loki segment. We're bringing Morgan Santo on for that. Can't wait to talk more about that show with you. Episode 4 was nothing short of brilliant.
BANANAS.
Bananas for the show. So we're going to move into that. Thank you for tuning in today. Again, we're getting longer with these shows, but it's just a couple nerds talking to each other. Listen to it in 20-minute segments. Everything will be okay. Till next time, Eric. Oh, Eric will be back next week. He's out of town again this weekend, and so we miss you, Eric. We'll see you next week. Again, Brett, thanks for filling in. You're the man. I almost said the F word twice today. It's hard, 2 Army guys getting together, not cussing. So, with that being said, I love you.
Play us out, Eric.
Kisses.